everybody. Welcome to our live stream. It's Tuesday. Had a big week last week, so I didn't get a live stream done. Didn't get much of anything done, actually. But today, we're going to do some stuff. So if you did not know, Midjourney just released their version 4 officially. So it's got all kinds of new bells and whistles. But there's also some things that don't work, which frustrate me personally. I hate square aspect ratios, and you can't do anything but the square with the new version 4. Now, the version 4 is a really nice upgrade to things, so I thought we'd play with that today. I'm in a weekly AI challenge. It's got about 60 people in it. It is closed, so we can't join it. But I had been trying to come up with some creative things to go in there with, and not just to enter, but to win. So being picky about the imagery, making sure that our fingers all look like fingers, the heads all look like heads, and so on, to try and create a better looking image. So this channel is about imagery for the most part, be it photography or Photoshop or AI. And I want to keep it that way. However, I'm going to be sticking a laser video in every so often because I have a laser cutter that I play with. And I'm actually thinking about incorporating the two. So making some pieces of laser art from my artwork. So kind of looking forward to see what I want to do there. I don't really know yet, but we'll find out. So today we're going to play with Midjourney. We're going to play with the new version 4. And we're going to work with this birth. Rebirth is the current theme. So I thought we'd talk about that and kind of work through it and talked about some of the strategies because I produced some nice images and people are always like, well, how do you get such great pictures? And I'm like, well, it's about prompting, right? And then once we have a beautiful base image, taking it into Photoshop and taking it to the next level and doing something great with it. So that's kind of what we're going to do today. If you have questions or comments, witticisms, criticisms, heresies, or fallacies, throw them into the chat and we'll answer them as we go. Otherwise, if you're watching this video later, throw it in the comments below. I tend to respond to every comment that I can, so look forward to hearing what you have to say about things. Again, this is going to be the version 4 release today we're going to look at. We do have a lot of changes to the automatic 11.11 local install of Stable Diffusion as well. We're not going to play with that today. But there will be another video coming on that because there's a lot of changes. It's very difficult to do that video at the same time we're live streaming though, because they both use the same video card. I have a 3080 NVIDIA in here, which is a very nice card, but it doesn't like to play nice with both machines at the same time or with both things at the same time. So when I do those, I'll probably be using RunPod. I put a link down below. That means you can run it on like a 24 gig machine, which is huge, obviously, for like 30 cents an hour. So I use that quite often when I'm training a new model or playing with something like that, and I don't want to have to interfere with what I'm doing locally. So that's what I got for today. So we're going to jump into Midjourney here and play around. So I'm going to go into the side of the head cam up here. My other camera I took down. I have something else I'm going to be doing here pretty soon. So I took that down, so I'll have to glance over the camera. But yes, this is what I'm looking at right here. So you get to look at the side of my head. Oh, I didn't show you my shirt. Did you see my shirt? My daughter got me the shirt. So it's my birthday today, and my daughter got me. My birthday is often on Elections Day. So it says Cthulhu for President, and underneath it says, why vote for a lesser evil? So it's a birthday and election day here in the United States today. So they always get me some Cthulhu thing because I'm a big H.P. Lovecraft fan. So there you go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to play inside of Midjourney after I mute my phone because everyone's texting me today. And what I want to do is I want to play with that whole birth, rebirth concept. And I have a direction I want to go. I haven't tested any of this because I think it's fun to kind of play with it along. Thank you, Vicky. Happy birthday. Thank you for the birthday wishes. What I want to do is I want to play with this, just kind of see where we want to go with it. And then what I'm going to do later, and I probably won't do it now because I have to get all that configured, is upload it into RunPod because, again, it's just like running a giant computer and then try and expand the canvas and see if I can find something else. Now, obviously, Midjourney runs on Stable Diffusion, but it runs on its own look. You know, it's kind of its Midjourney look of things. And if we try and expand that canvas inside of Stable Diffusion, it may not look the same. So it'll be an interesting kind of experiment. I see a lot of people now coming out with models that you can run on Stable Diffusion locally that look like Midjourney, which is very interesting. But it's not just the look of Midjourney. I like the way the Midjourney kind of mixes up the context of the image. Like it's very good at that. I think it's very good at that. And it's one of the things that I really enjoy about the tool itself. For the most part, I live in Stable Diffusion. That I find it to be more flexible and I can get a lot more looks out of it and have a lot more control. But Midjourney is very good at the inspiration part of it. The kind of the sketching phase gets skipped. So we're going to try that today. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go right into this, and I pulled up everything here. Let's talk a little bit about version 4 because there's some quirky things about it. First of all, just from a standpoint of usability, I would not suggest that you click on version 4 here. If you do that, what it's doing is it's adding a suffix called --v space 4. And if you try and do anything else, it's going to automatically append that to everything you type, which means that you're going to get errors. If you try and do something that isn't square, for example, you're going to get an error. So just best not to select anything and just use the -- for whatever it is that you want to do. That way you can be we say more flexible in what you're prompting, and you're not stuck with this constant error thing, which drives me batty. So I tend to leave these things at all default. The only things I have set are relax mode. That means we may wait a couple seconds longer. What a great investment, by the way. For 30 bucks a month, you basically get unlimited imagery. So if you're paying that $10 a month repeatedly, I would highly suggest you just switch to the $30 a month plan. It makes a lot more sense. And then I also pay for private mode. That means my prompts are mine and mine alone. I take time to craft my prompt, and it's interesting. I'll just take a second to rant. I get that Midjourney wants everyone to share the prompts and to AI art to be free, and everyone learns from looking at prompts, and I completely agree with that, and I have as well. But if the only thing you're bringing to the table is the ability to craft the perfect prompt, and then someone's like, hey, I can't draw and I can't do anything. In fact, I can't even prompt. Can you just tell me everything I need to know, and I'm just going to make the same image that you did? Makes me a little sad. So I'm a big fan of, I keep my prompt to myself when I have one I really love. Now, it's not to say that I'm not willing to share prompts. I share prompts with a lot of people on this channel who support it, get prompts. I'm trying to be sharing in that way. But when you take time to craft something, and it's so easy for someone to just take it and just make their own version of what you just took all your time to do, it makes me a little sad. Not to say that I'm greedy about it, but when you find something that's great, like I have these magic bullets, these things I love that are mine and that they look the way I want them to look. And if you found something like that, you'd be the same way. You'd be like, I'm going to keep it to myself. My little bit of this, that's mine, but I'll share everything else. It's not to share. I don't say share some amazing prompts, but I'm trying to be. There's a couple that they're mine. I made them and they're mine. But anything we make today, we're going to see where this goes. It might be amazing. I don't know. So we're going to use the Imagine prompt here. Now remember, we aren't going to use any of these flags up here. Steel Force is asking, new to Midjourney, been using other apps with AI, willing to learn. Yeah, I like Midjourney quite a bit. It's fun. I have to say, though, I just don't spend as much time in here as I do inside of Stable Diffusion or Dream Studio for that matter. Dream Studio, I have a lot more affection for that product, I think, than a lot of other people do because of some of the capabilities the editor has. All right, so in here, so it's birth, rebirth. So I'm just going to go right with birth. And because I like aliens and Cthulhu and creepy things like that, that's totally where we're taking this thing. Where this is not a happy-go-lucky scene, right? We're going a little weird with it. Not too weird, but not too weird. So it's baby being born in a hospital. Okay, that is terrible, right? That's boring. What can we do to make this more interesting? So what kind of baby is it? And this is the way that I kind of think. What's the most generic prompt I can think of to describe the scene? Is it an auto race? Is it someone farming? Is it someone baking pie? Well, this is a baby being born. And I actually could have just stopped there. Where's the baby being born? Well, it's being born in a hospital. What kind of baby? Well, I'm thinking this is an alien baby. So it's an alien baby being born in a sci-fi hospital, right? So we've got a little bit more, little more going on here. Sci-fi alien baby being born in a hospital. We have dramatic lighting because we want some of that. I don't know. Flat images like illustrations and stuff. I get Midjourney's very good at that. It just doesn't excite me personally. So I want to go with something a little more photographic. I mean, I'm a photographer for a living, right? So I want something a little more visually boom. So I'm going to play with this. So dramatic lighting. What else? Well, now remember, everything's in order of importance. So the things on the left are more important than things on the right. So order of importance, they kind of degrade over time. It's not significant, but it is there. So alien baby being born in a sci-fi hospital. There should be some cables and some wires. There's probably some fluids too, not fires, wires, fluids. By the way, fluid doesn't necessarily mean like fluid. It could mean I've actually seen it be interpreted more as like cables or wires or more like arcs of water. I actually did one. This is some of the stuff I've been doing in Stable Diffusion, to give you an example. So I'm so satisfied with this that's why I tend to not wander into Midjourney. Like, these turn out so well. In fact, there's a really big version of this one that I just posted on Twitter today. If you're not on Twitter, I've actually, I know everyone's all excited about the whole Musk thing, but Twitter to me has always been more interesting. I guess I didn't post that on Twitter. Oh well. Because I can post a lot of stuff on Twitter and not get reported for it, because, my God, I'm so done with Instagram right now. And unless you're on TikTok, which is really what Instagram does now, is just repeat TikTok stuff, I kind of gave up on it. Anyway, the fluid thing can create more like arcs of water and not so much just like wetness or puddles. I mean, we would use those words specifically. So alien baby, born, I say being born, let's use being born because I want it to be active, right? Surrounded, so we want to surround this person. It's a crowd of doctors. What kind of doctors are they? They're alien doctors. Now we have the word alien in there twice, so every time you can repeat a term, better to not repeat the term, but to come up with a synonym if possible. In this case, the word alien is pretty much the only word I can think of, so we're just going to stick with the word alien. I may come up with something different as we go. And so let's just run this one and see what happens. So I'm going to put --V and a 4. Remember, I cannot do my normal aspect ratio of 2:3. I like taller or wider. I don't like square. I just find that the bots for most of these tools, Stable Diffusion included, just don't give us interesting of an image when it's square, in my opinion. Yes, you may get more than one head. And if you're wondering, why do you get more than one head? It's because all these models are trained in a 512 square. So if you have something that's, say, twice as tall, guess what? The opportunity to render 2 heads is very real because it's got 2 512 images on top of each other. So it's trying to render 2 of them, and you get 2 heads. By the way, using a negative prompt like no 2 heads or 1 head isn't really going to work because it looks at each of those and goes, yes, there's only 1 head in each one of those. What's the problem? I also think it's funny when people put in like disfigured, no disfigured. It doesn't know that's disfigured. It just, that's how it draws a hand. By the way, how good are you at drawing hands? Right? I'm not very good at drawing hands. So I'm being all picky about AI being horrible at drawing hands. I can't draw a hand either. So I should just shut up, I guess. Umbrella Corporation. Oh, hey, I like that idea. I don't know what that's going to do, if we're going to end up with an umbrella in there. We'll have to see. Maybe we'll add that one after our first iteration, but I do like that idea. That's a great idea. What's the biggest resolution you can get with Midjourney? I think with the previous upscaler, I think 2000 something on the long edge is about right. Now I use another product called Chainer. It's free. I actually did a video on that. And I can push most of my images I'll see, do I have any of those? I guess I closed my bridge like an idiot. Most of my images are going to be much, much, much larger. Here's some dune-oriented ones I was working on, which I thought was kind of fun. The ones that I have done, see these masters in here, are going to be huge. Look at this one. This is 17,408 pixels on the long edge. So when we zoom in, we can go. I can't zoom it like a pro here, but you get the idea. It's huge. All these are pretty much that way. I haven't posted this one yet either. Playing around. But I use that Chainer application. So this one's only 8,000 pixels on the long edge. This one is final one. Some of these have these PSDs we can't read in here, which I don't know why, are much bigger. But that Chainer application is free and highly recommend it. It's very easy to use. But what I'll do is I have a bunch of my images that I have kind of all in one directory, and I set it up and just set it to go, and then wake up the next morning and they're all done. It's not fast, but then again, to take AI and to enlarge it using AI obviously takes time and video RAM and so on. So it is what it is, but I really like that product. All right, shall we see what this looks like already? I'm sitting here talking about it, and we should have just fired it off. So we're going to see where this comes back with. We're going to get 4 one-up, square images. You can now remix with version 4, but you cannot alter the aspect ratio. Again, that you're stuck with square for now, which bugs me more than it probably should. I also believe that weighting is now back. So prompt weighting is when you can make something more effective by adding a weight to it. Let's see how this comes back here, but let's do this. So prompt alien being. So we want alien to say be more prominent. We can put 2 colons and say it's a 2. This makes it every other token is worth 1. This makes it twice as valuable as any other token in the entire phrase, or it's a term in the entire phrase. Ooh, we got some good ones here, don't we? Yes, we do. I think I like this one the best. Again, I'm trying to win a competition on birth. It's not like who can create the grossest image, right? We don't want to win that competition ever, right? Not me, personally. This one has possibility. This one looks like just some overweight dad bod in the middle of the thing. That's a little bizarre. This one I think has the most potential. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll with versions of that one. Now I do have remix enabled. You have to enable that with settings. So you do /settings. It brings it up. Click remix, and now you're able to alter the prompt before it sends it off for versioning. I'm not going to do anything with it right now. We're just going to send it off like that and see what happens. We could also do version 3 and then switch it up to version 4. But again, if you create something that isn't square and you try and switch it to version 4, it's going to throw an error again. I tried that. Like, I'm professional at breaking things. I'm very good at breaking software. I have one skill. That'd be it. All right. Alien baby, twice as important. Being born sci-fi. That's pretty sci-fi, but maybe more sci-fi. Cables, fluids, dramatic lighting. Alien doctors. This looks pretty good. Let's try it again. But we've now made the word alien twice as heavy. You can also make things negative heavy. So you could say, we don't want, let's say something keeps popping up in the image. We can do : -2 or -1. Remember, everything defaults to 1. So even a 0 would help negate it. But usually it was like a -0.5 or -1 will knock it all the way out of the image. So if you're trying to counteract something, that's the way to do it. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, I like this one a lot. And this one's actually selling it too. Good doctor images, birth, rebirth, right? Everyone else has probably got some sort of very cute thing. Yeah, we're wearing the Cthulhu shirt for a reason today, people. I think this one is the more interesting of the two. Although this one has more of a typical look to it, I think this one is just a little more interesting. So let's run. Oh yeah, here's my alien is more important. Yes, it certainly is. There's no baby anywhere in there, is there? Well, alien for the win. Geiger would be proud, right? That's pretty funny. So alien, a bit too much alien in that one. So let's run back to this one. And we're going to run, again, a version 4 on this one. And is there anything else I want to do in here? Dramatic lighting, like a good crowd of alien doctors. I think I like that, but let's throw in just Cthulhu at the end. Because why not? We'll just throw it in the end. And notice that I don't use commas. You don't need any of that kind of stuff. You only need it for your readability, right? It's considered noise, is the way that there's a tokenizer that looks at this, and it's just noise to it. So you can use commas, you can use underscores, you can use anything you want to use. It's all fine. The only thing you cannot use are the dashes or the 2 colons, because those have meaning to this. Just like in Stable Diffusion, there are certain symbols that mean certain things, but otherwise it's just noise. So don't get all caught up on everything's got to be comma separated or 2 colons separated. I've seen a lot of people do that too. That's not correct. By the way, if you are weighting things with the 2 colons, don't weight more than, say, 2 or 3 at the most, because it's just like making an entire document. If you make every word in a document bold, what's the point, right? Just make them all normal. If you have 1 or 2 things that you want to stand out, that's what you're making bold. So kind of think of it like you're bold or underlining a couple terms that are more important than other things. I did like this one too. So let's run some versions of that one. And I'm not gonna modify that prompt at all. Again, if you want to turn that off, you would just use /settings, and then in fact, I'll show you. It is not, I think, super obvious. I really like this settings, though. I think this is a really great UI here. But notice that my remix button is green. Just click it to turn it off, and again, click it to turn it back on. So it's a toggle. Unlike most of the other things in here, it is a toggle. I guess there's a lot of other things that are toggles too. But like the version, for example, is sticky. And once you choose it, you'd have to wipe all of your different preferences off, your different suffix preferences. Sorry, look, my mic is a little bit loud there. Sorry about that. All right. What love do we have here? Okay. Oh, I like this one though. This one is by far the way the best one, I think. I like this guy's dumbfounded look. Like, is he looking at the baby or looking through it? I don't really so much like the baby though, but I like whatever this is here. This is special. Okay, I like the fourth one. So let's just start upscaling on it. So let's run an upscale on that just to kind of see what we got going on here. Take a look at this one. I don't like these as much. Is this the, yeah, this is the one we threw the Cthulhu in at the end. So maybe not throwing that in would be a good idea. Let's go back here and rerun. That was number 4, right? Let's run 4 again with no additional drama added to it. We'll just keep it where it. Yeah. Notice that I don't have the staple of Greg Rutkowski and Alphonse Mucha and all these other just endless parade of the same prompt that everyone's making. Yeah, don't do that. And the reason I say that is if everyone's art looks exactly the same, whether it's AI art or otherwise, how are you going to stand out in a crowd? You know, if everyone's using the exact same thing, what's the point? So I think part of this challenge is finding your own little mix of artists that work well for you. For example, the artists that I'm using, and the reason I don't share them too is twofold. One is it's mine. I came up with it and I don't want to share it because, again, I'm trying to make imagery that is mine and mine alone. But also all 3 of the artists I'm using are living artists, which I thought was very interesting. And I don't want to create another Greg Rutkowski situation. I get why the guy is a little bit frosted about the fact that people are using his name for stuff, but realistically, the art being created by this engine doesn't look like Greg Rutkowski's work, but his name is all over the place. In fact, he's almost kind of famous now for AI art, even though he has no AI art out there. So in a way, he should almost like capitalize on this. That's just my humble opinion. All right, so here we go. This is what we ended up with, and I don't even know what's going on in there, but I kind of like it. I kind of like it quite a bit, actually. I like this. I don't even know what this person's doing here. This is like a mom running. Okay, so now we have our jobs to upscale. We can use the standard upscale, the light, or the beta. The beta is the one that's going to, I guess this is the, yeah, this is the newer one. They're adding more of a block-in type of thing and removes some of the detail. Although this may be their new one. They are trying to work on their upscaler and come up with different ways to make these work than what they've had in the past. I haven't been a real big fan of any of their upscalers. They have one that makes everything really crunchy. They've got one that makes it kind of half crunchy, and the one that makes it very blah, but much bigger. And all I do is I pull them into Photoshop and I merge them on top of each other. So I'm trying to figure that out. Can you please show how in Paint to add animal face to our own product image, like paint or a shirt? Animal face. Maybe. We can maybe do that. That's a project, though. That's not a simple, like, oh, we'll just, Control F4 and bam. It's work. And I think this whole AI thing is really great, but it's not the end, right? Once we create an image and we get it, Photoshop is still a great skill to have. Everyone should have it. Or if you're serious about this, as I say, you should invest the time. There's a really... I'm going to say it's good because I made it. There's a Couch to Photoshop series on this YouTube channel. It is free. I think it's 14 episodes, and it's not complicated because we don't need to know every nook and cranny of Photoshop. We just need to know the major tools, and that's all I really use. I use about 7 tools. That's it for everything that I do. I don't have to go out and use some outrageous, some of these weirder tools in there. And a lot of those apply to graphic designers. They had a horrible 3D set in there, which they're gone now, which is great. The Substance Designer toolkit is now in there, which I really like. I do some 3D work as well. and that has been very cool. But Photoshop is not that scary when you realize you only need about 5 to 7 different tools, and there's a lot of techniques that go with those 5 to 7 tools. But really, the brush is the brush, but there's a lot of ways to use the brush to be creative. And that's really kind of the mastery that over time, I've been doing this for many, many years, you get really comfortable with those tools. But that series is on here. I'd suggest you watch it. Okay. So that's our light upscale redo. I'm going to go with the detailed upscale. And yeah, we'll see what that is. How do you correctly use images uploaded to change impressions? Oh, you mean in the image weights in here? I haven't played with it since they've redone it, so I can't really say from an expert standpoint what you should or should not do there. But in the past, you would reference an image, you could give it, it would come up with a weight. And I know they changed that way too, because it used to be a different nomenclature, which didn't make any sense. I think they've changed it now to be like a standard weight. But basically, it allows you to upload an image into Midjourney. But Midjourney doesn't use that image. What Midjourney does is it takes that image and kind of looks at it and goes, what is this a picture of? And then it reverse engineers it. So you're kind of looking at the soul of the image and not the image itself. So realize that's different. Now, Stable Diffusion and Dream Studio, you can upload an image into Dream Studio and have it modify that image. So that's, again, a completely different thing. All right, how are we doing here? So this is the light upscale redo. So let's take this thing. I'm just going to save it to have a U. Let's create another folder in here. We're going to put everything in this folder. And then we'll go into Photoshop and mess with it. Yeah, see, this is interesting. The detailed thing took a lot of the foreground element that I really enjoyed and now changed it. I actually liked it when the lady was reaching in. I liked this one. So let's go and grab this one as well. Put that in the folder. Borrow all these. Take that one as well. Sorry, they're all off over here. You guys don't want to see it like. All right, so that's pretty decent. Is there anything else in here that we love? This is awesome. Look at all the babies. All right, I do like that one. We're upgrading that one. So we're gonna upscale number 3 here. You know what? It slays me though. Like when I see it as a 1, like this 1:1, it's beautiful, but it's tiny. And when I upscale it, it loses what I loved about it. I mean, every so often it doesn't, but most of the time, yeah, you're like, darn it, it looked really good tiny. Can you just keep everything you had and just go from there? Not wreck it. Yeah, so it doesn't look, it's already kind of losing some oomph, but maybe not. Again, it is a birth competition. And so this is, again, if you can't win through image finesse and beauty, win from shock factor, right? Can you make the judge cry or laugh? If you can, it's bonus points. So when in doubt, do that. Now, if you can do that and you also have amazing art, then you win, right? That's the secret of this whole thing. All right, that's funny enough for keeping it. We're going to put that in the folder with everything else here. And now let's try the beta upscale redo and the light upscale redo. Why not? And let's make some variations while we're at it. Why not? We might get something better. I almost always use that variation slider. Again, this is the benefit of using the relax mode. Basically, we can do this all day long. Now we can only keep 3 in a queue. We can't go more than 3, or it starts to kind of append them. But I'm really having fun with that. Does upscale have a unique boundary? Not that I've noticed. I mean, each one only scales to a certain size. You can only upscale it once or twice with each method, and then it's done. So again, with the beta upscale, you're only going to get to, see, the upscale light, you're going to get to 2000, maybe on the long edge. But again, I don't really care, because I'm going to take it into Chainer and bring it up to whatever size I need it to be. Now, I'm not going to do that when we're live here, because it's going to take 30 seconds, and this live stream is going to suffer, and then everyone's going to leave, and I'll be here by myself. By the way, if you like this stream, take a second to click that like button. That's the way you kind of clap and let me know that you like this. Otherwise, I'm going to give you hair care tips, and I'm not very good at that. I don't think I'm very good. Okay, this is actually looking pretty promising. It did from a distance. Okay, so let's take this. It's kind of a train wreck, but let's see what we can borrow from it. And this one, a little bit better, I think. I'll take that one. And let's try the, what did we do? Beta and light. Let's do the detailed upscale. I think I'm kind of getting lost, I have to admit, by the detailed light in the beta up. I mean, it's just like they're all kind of blending into the same name. They almost need to give them just names, you know. I don't care if they're human names or numbers, but some other way to differentiate, because I forget which one I want now. Just call them alpha, beta, and gamma, and just I would get used to, oh, I really like the look of beta. The beta upscaler is my baby. That's what I want to use. Because I'm getting kind of lost with the nomenclature. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I don't. Yes, it's election day, so I'm going to wear this shirt to the poll. When I pick my wife up from work today, I'm going to wear my Cthulhu, Vote for Cthulhu shirt. I think that'll go over well with the poll watchers. Cthulhu's not on the ballot, right? I mean, he is. He's just not by that name, right? You see what I did there? That was fun. I thought it was fun. Hey, Eric. Welcome. Thank you for supporting the channel, sir. Thank you very much. Eric Goulet. Any relation to Robert Goulet? No? Okay, almost done upscaling here. And then I think we're going to go into Photoshop and play with these because I'm really happy with both of these, actually. They both got where I wanted to get. And I think that's actually pretty telling that I started with a prompt and I got to where I wanted to get pretty quickly. And I was obviously open-minded to where we were going. I said that from the very first day that I encountered this stuff is don't have a specific image in your mind and expect this to produce it for you, right? Go in with an open mind and be willing to see what happens, because you're not going to get what you want. If you know exactly what you want, you know, you can just pick up a paintbrush and paint it. By the way, I'm still a fan of painting stuff, right? I still paint. Been working on, again, a custom Catan board with my laser cutter. I still paint on canvases. I'm making some little earrings for my wife for Christmas out of clay, actually. So I'm trying to do things that are tactile, because what I do for a living as a photographer and now AI art and Photoshop for years, you can't touch it. You know, you can't hold it. I mean, you can print it, but that's about as good as you're going to get. I want something I can actually play with and touch and hold. So almost all my hobbies are tactile. So I make soap. I've got a 3D printer. I've got a laser cutter. I've got all these things. And, you know, I'm not God's gift to any of them, but they're what I do to relax when I'm not doing this, which I also do to relax. I'm very happy with this as a hobby and as a living. Okay, so that's pretty decent. Let's go to Photoshop. Let's see what we've got here. So let's do, let me find all this stuff I just did here. Seconds. You'll see. Here, and we'll put it into Bridge. If you don't use Bridge, I would highly recommend you look at it, because it's free. It's part of your Photoshop. Meaning you're paying for it because you get it with your Photoshop membership, and it's amazing. It's so good at organizing. Put our favorites over here. We can color code things. We can number or star them. Your colors actually work to show different things. Like I've got ones for my friend Becky, some that need love. That means I got to take them into Photoshop. She's probably got an arm growing out of her forehead or something, you know, that way. Review and to do. So I have different labels so I can kind of keep track of what I'm doing workflow wise. It's free. It's a free tool. Just get it. Anyway, you can also disable the hardware, using hardware to, that's what I'm looking for. its rendering engine. So it's not using my hardware, it's not using my video RAM, it's using regular RAM or software rendering. So it's a bit slower, but it also doesn't interfere if I'm trying to run something locally using my own video card. All right, so here's our problem. We've got so many versions of this thing that, and the first one is actually the best one, I think, again, that first one. Let's take all these into Photoshop here and see what we can. So I think I like this baby one the best. Which one of these is the biggest one? Got so I'm just looking. I just hit Control R, 1500 here, 2000 and change here, and this one's gonna be the small one, right, at just over 1000. So we're gonna use the big one as our base plate. So everything will go on top of that. That way we're not. I don't know. I know that's the size I'm gonna want. I want the biggest I can get, the most data I can get. I'm just gonna pick this up. I just hit V, which is your pick tool, so you can drag stuff. It doesn't look like I'm dragging anything. But I can drag it, just pick it up and drag it in here and let it go, and it will bring it in. And let's do with this other one here too. And then we can actually release these two in. Got 3 of them here now. I put them in the wrong one. This one's, no, okay. So this is another upscale. We'll try that one too and grab that in. I'm just gonna pile them in there so I can kind of see what I have. Start with this one. This is the, I always turn the ruler off, by the way. If you are one of these people who has like your color palette up here, or one of these swatch things that's taking up all this space and you're not using it, please close that. It drives me batty. I see people and they've got all this stuff taken up by things that they're not using. Your interface should be only the tools you use. That way you can actually see what you're doing. And you can hit your tab key anytime you'd like if you need to work full screen. That works, by the way, in most paint applications. So I'm going to use Control T here, and that's just going to be able to allow me to stretch these because I want them to be as big as the canvas. Yes, some of these are going to suffer a bit of resolution issues as we stretch them, but realistically, I just need them to all be that big so they're on top of each other. We can kind of look through them. This is the strategy. So on the bottom is the main one, the one that's the full resolution. It may not be the one we like the most, but that's okay. I think this is the one I like the most. I like the baby's faces a lot. Like, these are so good. They're so good. And there are some new tools, by the way. And so if you're looking at this going, wow, that is really, I see all the JPEG artifacting and things like that. They're under filter. There's some new neural filters, and there's one over here, and this may cause a little lag in the stream, so I apologize for that. But there's one down here for JPEG artifact removal. So let's go ahead and turn that on. And hopefully that's not going to cause everything to lag. Because remember, Photoshop does use VRAM, as does my streaming software. So there may be a little bit of a lag. And I may not want this to be high, by the way. I may say, let's go for medium. This should take out some of that graininess from the JPEG. That's really my biggest concern is when I'm done with this thing, I don't want it to look like I blew it up from something horrible. When we use Chainer, we can specify a GAN, again, an adversarial network that kind of knows what it should look like. So as it explodes it up and makes it bigger, it will go in and fill in any of those details it can, if possible. So that's, you can actually use diffusion, the same method as you make a document bigger, to go in and add details to things. So I see that that upscaler and things like that. I'm really hopeful to see those in some of the tools. I know that that Midjourney and Stable Diffusion are both kind of working with upscaler ideas, or at least that's what I hear. Yeah, the neural filters are somewhat new. They've been around since the version, say, the last version had some initially. I've been using the beta for a while, but I'm not using the beta right now. Going with the regular one. So there we go. We're gonna put this to a new layer just in case it's terrible, because I can't really tell from there. So this is what we got, and this is what we had. You can kind of see, especially like in here, we got all that kind of crunchiness. It helped out a bit quite in there. So I think this other one is discardable. This is a better version. Okay, now what about this layer? Is there anything in this layer that's worth keeping? I think it's a big step backwards in everywhere. I'm trying to look in the background, the perimeter, anything that we might say, wow, that's that's better. We could say like maybe down in here it's better. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn it on, but I'm gonna hold to my Alt key when I click the mask icon here, which will look this black mask. Think of the black mask as a black tape that goes over the top of the glass it's on. So you can't see that image because it's got a piece of black glass over it. But we can take a white brush, so you can see white is my color, and I can paint white or scrape the black tape off. Kind of think of it like that. So this allows me to bring back, and I'm switching using the X key between black and white. So now I'm putting black back on. And I wouldn't like get overly concerned with trying to mask this so that it's like some sort of perfect thing. Is anyone going to notice that? I mean, you saw it happen, but that's about it. The egg things in the back left. If you hold your shift key when you click on the mask, by the way, it turns it off. Egg things in the top. Well, I like the baby though. I think I want to keep the baby. So all we did was replace the tubes in the front here. And again, I don't know that I love. I like some of these colors in here are more vibrant, but some of that is. There we go. Okay, so that's good enough. And because I like this and it's enough, I'm just going to go ahead and merge these two. So if you highlight both of them, you can right click and choose merge layers, or you just get used to it. It's Command E or Control E, right? It just takes the two and smashes them together, because I'm never going to want anything else in that image, and I'm not going to carry it around. We're only at 36 meg here. Most of the time my images are approaching 2 to 3 gig. They get very large, especially when they're based on my photos. So I'm going to hit save. I'm going to pull this off, and I'm going to put it into, actually I just put it in the same folder we're in right now. Okay, what about this layer? What do we got on here? Wow. Okay, again, this is the Midjourney look, right? It's that there's too much whatever. It lost all of the love that it has here. Is there anything in here that I like? Like, I like these blue wires over here, but I don't like them more than the baby. So let's do this. Let's explore it. So to explore it, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use my pen tablet. So the fine folks at XP Pen sent me a tablet because I was whining about my Wacom, because it never connects to anything. I really like this tablet. It's been very good, but I still don't use the buttons on the side. I just need the tablet part. I kind of want to try one of those screen ones where you can paint right in the screen. I think that'd be pretty fun, but I haven't done one. I have a Microsoft Surface Book, which I don't know that I'm kind of a remorseful buyer for that, but I've owned it for a few years, but it gets really hot under my hand. So I can't sketch on it. It's too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to again turn that mask off by holding on the Alt key when I click on the mask icon. And now I'm just going to take, oh, that's right, I had problems with it the other day. I fixed it. I'm just going to take a brush and kind of start painting in some areas and see if I go back and forth. I can dynamically adjust the size of my brush, and now I can't, which frustrates me. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to toggle between X. I'm just going to hit X. So I'm going to paint some white and see if there's anything in here that I like. Robert says in the middle stuff. Huh? So if we just kind of fish around in here, borrow some of this. Maybe that. So it's just hitting the X key to turn it on and off. So I can kind of look and see what works and what doesn't work. And the big pile of whatever this is in the middle. That's so gross. What is that? I don't even know. I don't even know. What was your prompt? Yeah, it was a bunch of aliens around a Thanksgiving dinner. That's what it was. Tell everybody that's what the prompt was. They didn't watch the show. By the way, these videos tend to live in the member area down below. So members to this channel, you get a texture at least once a month. I try and give a texture. A bunch of other stuff too. I've been trying to be a lot more creative with what I'm giving members for the channel. I really appreciate you guys keeping it alive. So maybe this here is working out okay. So again, I'm just uncovering it. If I find something I don't like, just hit X and go back and cover back up again. Maybe we keep what that is. And if you don't know what you got, you can always hit the slash key above the enter key, and that will show you what you've masked out. So if you've got some areas, let's say maybe you got a gap like right here, I just want to make sure that I don't have some sort of weird gap. Because you never know. It might look fine, but maybe you're missing something that when it's blown up bigger, it won't look as good. I know that's difficult to look at, but that's very helpful. Down in here, is there anything down in here? Don't want that. That looks a little visually distracting to me. Like, I don't mind that at all. Maybe have anything in its head. Maybe we go with a little bit more. That. I actually kind of like the blue speckles in this baby's head. Okay. Some of these other babies didn't fare as well. So again, hold down Shift key to turn that on and off. Yeah. All right. I like that. I think that works out pretty well. So that's what I would do. Now, what I would do once I'm done with this is I would probably run this through a face recognition GAN, like a code former or something like that. There's a lot of them. And it would find these babies' faces and maybe fix them a little bit. So before I enter it, I'm going to run it through something like that to see if I can fix some of the problems. I don't know that it'll work or not. If it doesn't, that's fine. But at least we're going to give it a shot. Okay, so let's do the other one. What else do we have? We had this one, that operating room. And we'll just drop it. If you drop it into the layer palette, it'll open it in a new window. Which one's the biggest one? 1,000. This one is 2,000. 1,400. So going over here. If you hold down your Shift key, by the way, it'll always drop it in the same position. So if you're moving something from one context to another and the size of the window is the same, and you hold down your Shift key, it'll put it right in the same spot, so you don't have to try and align it up later. But because these windows are violently different sizes, it's not going to work that way. But it's a good trick to know. All right. Again, same trick. Let's take this one. I'm just going to Control T and resize it so it's the same size as everything else. One of the things that I do when I look at these is if I say, well, I really like, say, the... this actually works better in Stable Diffusion than it does in Midjourney, in truth. When you'll get like some detail back in here, and when you run it through like an application to increase the size of it, it loses a lot of its interest or its love. You can take it and apply this one, but apply it in luminosity mode, and you get just that little bit of noise, which brightens it right back up and makes it look better again. So I've been using that trick quite a bit. Okay, so let's start with this one. So what do we love here? I actually really like this image a lot more than this image. So let's put a mask on it, and we'll do the same thing. We'll just kind of explore it, but I'm going to start with it all the way on this time because I think I like most of this. I just got to fix it. I like to be able to dynamically drag my cursor to resize this thing, and for some reason it's not working. I think I like, we like this woman better this way. See, is there anything in this image that I love? Or this replacement image? How about this dude? Yeah, his suit's a little bit better. His arm is not as... Baby. I almost like that better because it makes less sense if the baby's just sitting there. Scott, what if anything? All right, that's a partial question. All right, but you type the rest of it. What's over here? Nothing's that. Again, I'm just turning things on and off to look and see what's behind it. I actually think this is better. A person. Dangling squid is eerie. I like the dangling squid quite a bit because, although this is not bad, but can we borrow again pieces of it? Are there little hairy bits here? Some eyeballs? I think are most smaller maybe. pieces of this. Kind of, again, I'm just seeing I'm just peeking at what's underneath. It may not be better, or it might be better, I don't know. But it's really easy to turn that, just hit X to turn it on and off. Over here. First one looks better. Okay. Light fixtures is better. Don't get so caught up in having to mask everything so super accurately. Again, because you've seen it being done, you don't know what you're missing, right? Why do you decrease the opacity to see what's underneath the painting? I don't work that way. I mean, you can. It's just not my style. I tend to work as I reveal it, because if I use the opacity to kind of see what I'm doing, then I re-increase the opacity to kind of see it. I think it's more fun to kind of explore, because you look at this mask. I mean, this mask it's this. I would never have drawn that by decreasing the opacity. But again, that's my weird workflow. So this I don't think would be. I'm just exploring more than anything else. Just kind of seeing what parts might be better. I feel like all these doctors the way they are down in here. Nothing wrong with doing it the way you're proposing though. Sure. I feel like these lights better. How about this cable? I like this blue part better. I like these little blue lights over here in this. Pretty good. All right, so I'm happy with that. Let's flatten this whole thing because we. Actually, I guess I could flatten it, but I'm gonna keep the original layer because I like to do the before and after. I always think that's pretty impressive to keep the before and after. I'm gonna hit save though. And now let's color grade this thing or do something with it. So let's start working with some different layers to kind of make it our own. Do I want a pure black in here? I think I'm going to lift the black a little bit. So this, if you flatten this, you get all gray. This is 18% gray, right? Or 15%, 50% gray. I'm just going to raise the black stuff. So now there's actually no black anywhere in the image. But I'm going to bring the middle back down because I want to keep it kind of interesting. It looks almost like an illustration. It's not a photo. And normally, again, I would not normally like that, but I think I like it in this case. And then maybe you want a little bit more on the bright side. When in doubt, you can always use auto. Auto, by the way, has different settings. If you alt-click on auto, there's a bunch of them that are in here, and one will usually work better than another. This one here tends to re-white balance the image, especially if you re-snap your neutral tones. That may give you a better result. So here's this. So you can see it got rid of some of this kind of yellowish to the image and try to get rid of it. I actually think I like the yellow part of the image. It kind of gives it that alien thickness that I've been enjoying. So again, we're just going to go back to this, I think. Subtlety with a curve is fine. Like these extremes typically don't work out real well. For me, anyway. Not to say that I won't try them, but again, I just typically don't like it. Let's try and color grade it with a color lookup. So this is a LUT, a lookup table. And it's basically a conglomeration of a bunch of adjustment layers all done. So it can be mathematically represented later. So you can apply this to film or whatever. So LUTs are a very cool way to do things. Capture One is the only piece of software I know that doesn't support them, which makes me sad panda because I use that all the time. All right, so now I'm just looking through these. There's some that I love, like Candlelight I normally love. Drop Blues is another one. There it is. I love that one usually. All colors. Again, this is kind of taking that illustration thing and keeping it. Foggy Night. Futuristic Bleak's another one. That one already. I think I like that one. Horror blue. Okay, so let's say we go horror blue, but it's too much. Let's just back the opacity of that. It's not as. So here's our before or after. I'm pretty happy with that. Save that. There we go. So I actually got two decent entries this week for this competition. I think both of them are pretty nice. How do you ship between lots of open, without the drop down? So what you do is you click once and then you use your mouse wheel. As long as your mouse wheel is hovering over this, it'll switch it. If you don't hover over it, your mouse wheel won't work. So just mouse wheel over the top of it and it will switch. In fact, I might even change it now. I like that. I like that kind of green, the greenness that's going there. Yeah. Well, there you go. That's our Midjourney. We made a baby. We made a baby thing. There's our prompt. Again, I think the shorter prompts do a better job. Camera back up here. I think the shorter prompts do just a better job in general. You don't have to argue with the bot so much because you don't have as many terms. It's much easier to push something to the forefront by using prompt weighting, which I'm so happy is back. Prompt weighting is so powerful. It's one of those things that I'm really missing in some other tools that I use, but I really like prompt weighting. Because again, you saw what we did. We pushed the alien too far, but you see the amount of control you have if you really wanted it. Where do I submit my AI art? So I have a competition on Twitter that I'm on. So it's just my name, S.E. Detweiler on Twitter. And I put it on there for the competition. And then I actually, I'm going to put up and start putting them up on sale. I haven't put them up much. I have a couple of NFTs that I sold really early on, a couple of years ago. Because I was early adopter to that, but I haven't really been minting a lot of that stuff. I like it printed. I like to see it on my wall, not so much on my monitor. So I'm a big fan of actually buying printed work. So I think I put in the video description. Let me check real quick. Did I? I did, yeah. Where you can print and sell your own artwork. So that's a different tool down there. That will allow you to set up and they will do your print fulfillment for you. So basically you can post, hey, here's this picture. If you want to buy it, go here. They buy it and they drop ship it to their house. And it's not like Redbubble because Redbubble to me, the quality of the product is not there. And when I want something, I want to put it on my wall. I want it to look nice. I don't want it to look like I printed it for the cheapest I could get. Do I post my challenge on Twitter? I do. So it'll be on Twitter. It'll be a hashtag AI art challenge or something like that. And again, there's 60 of us that are in there. They're not expanding that at all. We will be having our own competition. I keep saying that, but I got really busy and I wasn't able to do it. But we're going to do a 2-week run competition probably. And I got to think of what I want to do with the theme. And I'm open to ideas for the theme, by the way. So if you want to put some down below, I would love to hear your ideas. And we're going to run for 2 weeks. And then H&H Color Lab, which is one of the people it's the lab that I use for all of my photography, professional photography work. They're going to sponsor and give away a big metal print or a canvas print. I think they're deciding which one of your work. And then of course that's a gallery. That is a gallery level product right there. That is not a cheap print. So if you're going to hang something in a gallery, you want them all to be something that a collector is going to say, wow, that is a very nice print of a lovely piece of art. Not, wow, what a lovely piece of art. Did they print that at Walmart? You don't want that, right? You want to have something that is a gallery level. So this is a gallery level print they're going to give away of your work. So when we do that, it'll be a really great opportunity for you to get something that's really nice to hang on the wall or sell, right? That's not an NFT. You're going to do facial recognition on a previous render and make the baby faces look nice. I'm going to try. I'm going to run it through one of the GANs that I have, but I can't do that with this camera on because it's going to all epically fail. And I'll try that and see what it turns out like. And it should work. I don't know if it's trained on babies or not. It's usually trained on adults. So we'll see. I'm not really hopeful that it's going to do anything. I am hopeful, but I'm being practical. It's not going to fix it, but that's okay. It's fine. It's fine. I could probably go in and liquefy the heads a little bit and make sure they're all round and maybe change the facial expressions a bit. There's also a neural filter for expressions, which I didn't play with today, but that might be fun. Maybe try that at some point. There's a lot of new stuff. So I love the new work. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. But yeah, so I'm going to go celebrate my birthday tonight and just hang around and go vote, right? Vote for Cthulhu for president, right? Why vote for a lesser evil? But everybody, thanks for hanging around with me today. We'll do, again, live streams on Tuesdays. I'll probably do another one later on this week, and I have a couple of videos coming on because there's a couple of new tools that have come to the forefront. You'll find that I'll give you news and stuff, but a lot of people are like, hey, teach me this, teach me this. Some of these tools change 4 or 5 times a day right now. And it doesn't make sense for me to go ahead and offer you a tool that, again, the next day the video was wrong. So I'm letting them settle a little bit in the dust before I bring it up and say, this is the way you should be using that tool. So thank you for the birthday wishes, Gary. Appreciate it. And so just note that all these things are coming, but I don't want to be too aggressive about just posting videos and then confusing everybody. Let them be out there for a week or two. Let them kind of settle a bit before we go forward. Because even things like VAEs, the variational autoencoders, I did a video on that, and then like 3 days later, it changed how it works. Now, the method I showed in that video is still valid and still works, but I think in the long run, we should probably be adapting the new method, right? Continuing to move forward. This whole industry, like everyone's like, wow, there's so much going on. It's moving so fast. You think about regular software, you get how many times a year do you get a new release of Windows, right? You don't. It's a few years, or updates, major updates to products, or maybe once or twice, like at Photoshop, maybe 2-3 updates a year. We're getting 3 or 4 updates a day right now on almost all these things. So you guys are on the bleeding edge, right? You're on the forefront of this whole thing. So in 2 years' time, when everyone else is just kind of starting to discover it, you will be already have been in the trenches. Remember when Midjourney couldn't render a hand to save its life? Yes, you were there. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And thanks for hanging around with me while I'm doing these kind of brainstormy things. Sometimes they don't work out, and I think it's kind of fun to watch me fail at it too. Watch me flail a little bit. Good for everybody. But hey, take care. Everybody stay safe, and I will catch you guys all next time. Bye. I'm going to find the right button this time. I have an outro button. I did not update this screen yet. I had trouble getting this to launch earlier, but I got it to work out with about 30 seconds left, and it's old. So it's an old screen.